done the right way. Real-time visibility of shipments. This may seem kind of silly in the surface, but what I really mean to say here is quality real-time information. It was mentioned earlier in one of the presentations, I think from Mark. Consistency. You know, if you say that you're going to have things updated and they're going to be on the website real time, let me tell you what, every milestone that moves is just as critical as the other one. So if you get 9 out of 10, that's an F. You really need to be 10 out of 10, and that's a fundamental, it's an operating principle, and I think by and large the carriers do a good job. But when you look at the products that we move around the world, and again, you've got $50,000 worth of product, and all of a sudden it sits in a port for 3 weeks, and nobody knows about it. Let me tell you what, that bill, after you pay for electricity and plugins and everything, it gets really big really fast. And I can say that we probably have 10 times a year where we're dealing with some very significant bills, and a lot of it could be taken away if there was good visibility to that container. Balancing green initiatives while remaining competitive. Cliff, I couldn't agree more. I commend the GPA on the, you guys are being proactive on that, and that's critical to all of us. What I would caution everybody, though, is I think we need to do it responsibly. I think we need to do it collectively so we understand what the benefits are. I think too many times the word green is used, and here comes your bill. Or, hey, this is what you're going to have to do. And I think there's cost benefits, but I think it needs to be discussed. There's a certain area of the country on the West Coast that I don't think took that approach. And, the itemized bill that comes with all the services that you have to pay for to get through there is frustrating. I can tell you as a major exporter, we avoid that location because we don't think they're looking out for our industry, and we don't think they're being competitive. So it's very important that we all go green, that we do and take the right steps, but I think it's more important to do it in a collective fashion and bring value to everybody. I'm not bashing anybody, am I yet?
Just take it down.
All right, excellent. Opportunities, and some of these are similar. I mean, we're all about cost efficiencies. I mean, we understand that the carriers, it's an asset-based industry. It's very difficult to run a network of ships, containers, chassis, ports, information systems. So we're all about cost efficiency. I think what's really interesting in the last 24 months, what happened with slow steaming. All the engineers said it couldn't be done. They said, nope, we can't run efficiently at those speeds, and voila. All of a sudden, I mean, if you look at the efficiencies and the cost savings that some of these carriers got, it's astounding. So I look at that, and I know there's other out there, and we're all for that. We think that if we can bring the cost down, everybody shares in it. So I think there's opportunities to find other things like slow steamings or other opportunities to increase velocity. Effective web-enabled carrier sites. It is interesting. I think we have about over 40 ocean carrier contracts. Because of our global scope, we have to deal with small, medium, large carriers. I really am amazed at the lack of really strong websites. There's some folks that knock it out of the park that are outstanding. And the ability to book and control and do everything electronically is fantastic. There's others that not so good. And I can tell you, we ask to be on every pilot program out there because if it's cheaper for me to do business with you, then it's better for you. And I would encourage the carriers to maybe look a little bit more on the website side because as much as we like our vendors and we enjoy talking to them, we would rather book it electronically and reduce your cost, increase the efficiency, and take advantage of the technology that's out there. More standard contracts. Matt Huey from our company's here. This is really put up here for Matt. Again, we deal with over 40 carriers, and I can tell you there's not one carrier contract that's alike. Not one. And they range from the really good to the really bad. And, with all the conference structures, again, not bashing, I just think it's an opportunity. If you sat on this side of the aisle and you had to deal with 40 totally different contracts with different language, with different acronyms, I mean, it's pretty daunting. So there really is a lot of lost efficiencies, and I can only imagine, I know what it means to us and the other folks up here on the panel. I think there probably would be a lot of value to the shippers, the importers, the exporters, if the carriers looked at some similarities. And then, again, on the opportunities, I put down chassis. I just want to come at this a different angle. We really need to improve the safety and improve the costs on this. I mean, I wouldn't put my 6-year-old daughter on some of the chassis that are out there because they're not put together very well. we're willing to pay for a quality product. We need a quality product. The last thing we want is for somebody to get hurt or get killed on the highways. And I tell you, with some of the chassis out there, with the tires that aren't equipped properly or the treads aren't right, it's a problem waiting to happen, and we're very concerned about that. And I think that's an opportunity for us, everybody in this room, and people outside this room to address. How am I doing, Cliff? Good? All right. Last slide, I promise. I think we have a lot in common. And this is the view from an importer and exporter. Equipment velocity is very important to all of us. I mean, as an exporter, we need that piece of equipment there. When we need it, we need to get it loaded, we need to get it out. If it's not here, it's not going to help us. But if anything the shippers can do to help you increase that velocity, I think they're willing to do. The whole idea is to manage costs. Visibility of the milestones, again, I think it goes both ways. We all need that. We need financially healthy truck and ocean providers. We want the carriers to make money. They have to make money, because if you don't make money, you cannot reinvest. And I think we found out this last year what that means. When they stopped container production in China for, I don't know, maybe a 10, 12-month period, we are still feeling the ripple effects. So we need healthy truck and ocean providers. And I think we can do that to Mark's point, by being more consistent. And I remember back in the Inera days, back in the early 90s, where you'd get a general rate increase of $900 one year, and you'd be taking the rates down $1,100 the next year. One year you get promoted, the next year you're fired. So I think we want everybody to be healthy, and we want to engage in that conversation on how you can be healthy, and I think efficiency is a big part of that. Understand the full costing of moves. It kind of goes back to the contracts. I'm not sure the carriers truly understand all the different costs associated, so it's really hard as a shipper, an exporter, to really pay a bill that you didn't realize that charge existed. And it happens actually more than you know. So I would probably put that under the contract conversation. Then providing the next big thing. I think slow steaming really opened a lot of people's eyes as to what could be. I mean, if you understand the transit times, you can build it into your supply chain. I think what the gentleman from Home Depot said is absolutely correct. I think that you've got to be consistent with what you do, okay? If you say you're going to do it and it's 17 days, just make it 17 days. It can't be 18. Do what you say you're going to do. I appreciate the GPA. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys.